Rama Rama Hari Hari. 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 So devotees, we will sing Saparshada Bhagavad Viraha Janita Vilap. Yeah, okay. You got your phones. Should never be separated from your phone. We got any copies? Okay, I'm asking if you got song copies, not. Here. Oh yeah. No. Because some have not brought their telephones. Gosh. Old timers. Aquarians. Okay, so devotees, look over the shoulder of someone, there's not many, are there, who have the song on their telephone. Saparshada Bhagavad Viraha Janita Vilap, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, lamentation due to separation from the Lord and his associates. Yes, by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And it's our practice to sing the song on the disappearance days of the great acharyas, great transcendental personalities. First of all, let me read the translation so we know what we're singing. So verse 1, he who brought the treasure of divine love. Okay, here's some books. What page is it? 73. Devotees. Page 73. They say it's page 73. I don't know if there are different versions of the songbook. Saparsh, if you want to look it up, you found it? It's 73? Right. Depends which edition that is true. Very good, indeed. So let us just read through the translation first. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go. I will smash my head against rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Do we have a sort of a mridanga player? Not really. Anyway, it's not serious. But Ye anilo premadana karuna pracho Ye anilo premadana Karuna pracho Heno Prabhu Kota Gelaracharya Thakur Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kahadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamora Bhatta Yoga Kaha Kaviraj Ekakale Kota Gela Goranataraj Pashane Koti Bomata Anale Pashibo Gauranga Gunera Nide Kota Gele Pabo Se Saba Sangira Sange Koilo Vilas. Se Sangana Paya Kande Narottamadas. Ye Anila Premadana Karuna Pracho. Hena Prabhu Kota Gelaracharya Thakur. Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Jayam Vishnavad Parnamahams Parivrajakacharyas Tanasasismad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Svandracharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharyas Tanasasismad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki, the Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki, Go Premanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So, devotees, well, you already heard a class by Srila Prabhupada this morning. I assume that was the famous 1969 Los Angeles class, where he talks about the prince and the butcher and the... Anyway. Okay, I don't want to repeat too much. But, and it's a bit of a long story. We've got 45 minutes. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had been praying for a ray of Vishnu to help him spread the Krishna consciousness movement, because he just didn't have confidence in practically anyone, really, who could really take the mission of Lord Caitanya further. So then we understand, in answer to that prayer, the Lord the Lord sent Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He appeared, of course, today we're celebrating the disappearance, observing the disappearance. But he appeared on February the 6th, 1874, in Jagannath Puri. He was the 6th child in a family of 13, the 4th of 8 sons, and 3rd by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's second wife, Srimati Bhagavati Devi. He was born with the umbilical cord around his neck, which was taken to be very auspicious because it was like a Brahman thread. And the mark on his body remained clearly visible throughout his life, the mark of that umbilical cord. And famously, when, this is February he appeared, Rath Yatra in Puri is June, usually, so March, April, May, June. 4 months later, give or take, was the Rath Yatra. And during the Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath's chariot stopped right in front of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, is the father of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And the chariot stayed there for 3 days. And his mother, and that house, if you're familiar with the layout of things in Jagannath Puri, the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's a Gaudiya Math temple now. I mean, it has been for many years. And it's only 200 or 300 meters down the road from the entrance of the big temple, which is outside which the Rath Yatra starts. So the Rath Yatra had only been going for just a couple of 100 meters or something. And it stopped there for 3 days. And Srimati Bhagavati Devi, his mother, took the 4-month-old child up. There were stairs to go up onto the platform in front of Jagannath. She took him up, placed him right at the lotus feet of Jagannath, and offered prayers. And as he was lying there looking up at Jagannath, a garland fell. She touched his head to the feet of Jagannath, and a garland fell around him, on top of him, around him. So it said, as a child, his feet were soft like butter, so much so that to those who touched them, it almost seemed as if there were no bones. His skin was so delicate that even the slightest touch would redden it. So, on that same day, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's 4 months, more or less, Bhaktivinoda Thakur performed the Anaprashna ceremony, the first grains ceremony. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as his first grains, gave him Maha Prasad of Jagannath, Prasad of Jagannath, which had been offered to Bimala Devi, who is Yoga Maya, or the local people take her to be Durga, but we understand she's Yoga Maya in Jagannath Puri. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him Jagannath Mahaprasad, which had been offered to Bimala Devi. And that special prasad, it's called Bimala Prasad. And it's Maha Prasad of Jagannath. Yes, and then from that day, he was known as Bimala Prasad. To just skip forward, when he was 3, there was the famous incident with the mango. I assume that you heard that this morning. Did you? You didn't. You're kidding. No, you must have. Maybe you weren't listening. He took a mango. It was mango season. And in those days in India, mango season, the summer, it's just completely overwhelming. People can't even give away mangoes. So there's always a stock of mangoes, like in the main sitting room of the houses of the respectable people, so that any family member or anyone, and particularly the children, could just help themselves. So there was a mango, a beautiful mango, sitting on the table in the middle of the living room, and little Bimala Prasad assumed that it's here for us, as usual. It's prasadam. And he took it and started eating. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur came and saw and told him, no, this was not offered. It was to be offered to the family Govardhan Shila. And Srila Prabhupada, I'm sure you must have heard it this morning, Prabhupada said, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mildly chastised him and told him, this is a very bad thing you have done. It was to be offered to the deity. Yes. So from that time, when he was 3, from that time for the rest of his life, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would never accept mango. He would never eat mango. If he was offered, well, he would be offered, of course, particularly when he became a prominent preacher and leader amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, he would be offered. But he would always refuse and say, I cannot take it, I'm an offender. And when he would refuse, he would quote famous verse from Ishopanishad, Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena chaktena bunjita magridha kasyas viddanam. Everything within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Therefore one should accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he noticed Bimala Prasad's great seriousness about Krishna consciousness from that time, well, as he's just growing up in his childhood. And he took special care of him and gave him special training, which he didn't give as much to the other children. At the age of 7, Bimala Prasad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had memorized Bhagavad Gita and could explain all the verses according to Krishna consciousness. So in 1881, he appeared 1874, yeah. So 1881 means he's 7. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was having his Bhakti Bhavan in Calcutta constructed, or the construction was beginning, and in the course of excavating for the foundations for that house, a Kurmadev Shalagram Shila was found. And when this happened, Bimala Prasad requested, can I please worship this Shalagram Shila, Kurmadev Shalagram Shila? That Shila is in the temple at the birthplace of Lord Caitanya, and if you ask, you can get darshan. So he's 7 years old. He's now received a particular type of initiation. Of course, we have our system for initiations, but in a sort of Vedic sense, not necessarily Krishna conscious, but Vedic. There are all sorts of initiations for all sorts of purposes in Vaishnavism or just in the Vedic tradition. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave such a type of initiation to Bimala Prasad and gave him the Shalagram Shila of Lord Kurma to worship. He also he gave, at the age of 7, Bimala Prasad was given his first Tulsi beads. Bhaktivinoda Thakur got them there in Puri and gave them to Bimala Prasad and instructed him in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. He also initiated him into a mantra for worshipping Lord Nrsingadev. And interesting little point, those Tulsi beads, Japamala, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in 1881, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was 7, he kept for his whole life. Those were his japa beads for his whole life, the ones given to him by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur made chanting japa compulsory for him. Yes. So he was clearly not an ordinary boy. Even at that age, 7 years old, he had exceptional ability to remember any topic which he heard about and to understand it far beyond the normal capacity for a 7-year-old. And he developed a voracious appetite for reading Shastra. Voracious. And incredible ability to exactly, word for word, recall passages he had read only once. And actually they say that later on, when he, well, just later, I mean much later on, like 50 years later, in the later part of his life, because he lived to be 64, they say that he could recall anything he had heard once 50 years before. He could recall it verbatim. So therefore he was given the sort of nickname, you could say, living encyclopedia. And it says here, even in his last days, he could reproduce verbatim any part of any book he had read 50 years before. So he's growing up now, going to school, but he had no interest in associating with the other school boys of his age, unless they were interested in Krishna consciousness. His two favorite books were Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika, which are song books by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Once, during the 1880s sometime, a reputed Babaji, but in those days and in these days, the Babajis, Hare Krishna, they were, at least so many of them, even though they would dress as renunciates and they would like to be treated as renunciates and prominent devotees, but so many of them, and still to this day, their standards are just not up to the standard, breaking many, if not all, of the regulative principles. It's really quite a pathetic situation. So anyway, one of these Babajis, who was somewhat reputed, noticed that Bimala Prasad had not offered him obeisances when he walked past. So this Babaji spoke to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and said, why? Why did he not offer obeisances? He should do that to sannyasi. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur replied, because he does not offer obeisances to sahajiyas. In 1888, means he's 14 years old. Oh, it says here at age 15. His teachers, he started studying astronomy, and his 1888 he was 14. He started. At age 15, after a year or so, his teachers were so impressed, they gave him the name Siddhanta Saraswati. So from that time, 1888 or 1889, that time, he would be addressed as Sri Siddhanta Saraswati and not Bimala Prasad so much. In 1893, means he's 19, he published Surya Siddhanta, his translation of Surya Siddhanta, which is the oldest traditional Vedic book on astronomy. Yes. And in his introduction, he said the following: At present, the majority of persons reputed as learned are averse to Shastriya understanding. They shamelessly promote themselves as knowledgeable in Shastra, even if totally unaware of its contents. The disease has taken the form of inordinate desire for honor. This evil has engulfed the Jyotir Tirthas, and resultingly, their work is incomplete and short-sighted. In 1892, he entered Calcutta Sanskrit College, and he started a society, student society, Chira Kumara Sabha, the Association of Lifelong Bachelors, celibates, which was also called the August Assembly. The members took a vow of celibacy. However, Siddhanta Saraswati was the lone member to maintain the pledge throughout life. So he was studying the Vedas, Vedic literatures, the word was used voraciously, through that period. So, because of clashes with his teachers at the college about astronomy, there was an official debate between Siddhanta Saraswati and the head of the astronomy department. And Siddhanta Saraswati easily won. But then he got into arguments with the principal, and so in 1895 he had to leave the college. And about this he said, considering that if I were to remain attentively studying at college, I would be browbeaten to enter family life, but that if I were perceived as a foolish good-for-nothing, then no one would put such an inducement upon me for becoming engaged in worldly advancement. So considering that, I left the Sanskrit college. And to maintain my life for service to Lord Hari, I sought an honest occupation with a modest income. So from 1895 to 1905, he worked 10 years for the kings of Tripura, ending up as the overseer of the Tripura government secretariat in Calcutta. But finally, the internal politics got so bad, he resigned in 1905. From 1897, he started observing Chaturmasya. Once daily before sunset, he would take only rice, cooked by his own hand, with just a touch of ghee, but no salt or spices, by the method known as go-grasa, feeding like a cow, eating directly from the ground with no plate, by sitting and leaning forward and not using the hands, eating with the mouth, and eating no more after once rising to the sitting position. Go-grasa. And interesting little point. If or when you go to the Caitanya Mat, which was his headquarters. It's further down the road from the birthplace of Lord Caitanya. And it was the headquarters of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So there in the one building, which is kind of opposite the Samadhi of Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, is a piece of rock, like a slab. And this is what he would eat from when he was doing go grasa. It would just be put on the ground, the rice just be put on it, and he'd lean forward and eat with his mouth like that. So when he was 25 in January 1900, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur requested him to take initiation from Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And of course Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was aristocratic, highly intellectual, and just highly educated and knowledgeable, like a beyond first-class scholar. And Babaji Maharaj, Gokishore Das Babaji, was illiterate, cranky, and crude, they say. Indeed, he was reputed to angrily refuse people who approached him for initiation, sometimes even beating them with an umbrella to chase them away. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur requested Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Siddhanta Sarasvati at the time, to take initiation from him. So he approached Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Gokishore refused him. He told him, "I once accepted a disciple, but he cheated me and went away. I will not make any further disciples." So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta didn't want to just give up like that. So he begged for mercy. And Srila Gokishore said, "I will ask Mahaprabhu. If he gives permission, your request will be granted." So a few days later, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta returned and inquired what was Mahaprabhu's order. And Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj replied, "I forgot to ask." And when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta came for the third time, then Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, "I asked, but I did not receive the command of Mahaprabhu." So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was devastated, and he spoke the famous verse from his father, "Karuna nahoile, kandiya kandiya, pranana rakibo ar." Without your mercy, weeping and weeping, I will no longer sustain my life. So he told him that if you will not initiate me, I will commit suicide now. And Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj saw that he really was serious, and so he agreed and gave him the name Shiv Varshabhanabi Dayata, Shivarshabhanabi Devi Dayata Das, servant of Srimati Radharani, who's very merciful. So Srila Prabhupada said, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to accept Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj as a spiritual master, that you go and take your initiation from Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So he, this is Prabhupada, so he, Bhaktisiddhanta, thought, I'm a great scholar, and I'm son of a magistrate, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, great Vaishnav. He'll be very much pleased to accept me. Of course he was very much pleased, but in the beginning he refused. He refused. Because, of course, that is only show. He was not proud. Just to teach us, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati explained that I was little proud. So I was thrice refused by Guru Maharaj, although he was the only disciple. So their relationship was extremely deep, of course, extremely deep. Just let me check. We're doing Pushpa Puja, is it? After this. And then Arti. Okay. Should I stop in 15 minutes? Okay. So yeah, their relationship was extremely deep. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta spoke about it in deep terms. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. When out of false ego I was thinking, I'm a great scholar of mathematics and philosophy. Let any big pundit come at any time, day or night, and I will cut his propositions to pieces. At that time, I got the darshan of the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. He ignored everything that was previously appreciated in me, my truthfulness, my moral and pious life, and my intellectualism. So he ignored them, knowing them to be of little value. When I saw that he ignored whatever was good in me, I realized how good he himself must be, who could neglect so many, quote unquote, good qualities in me. What inconceivable wealth he possessed. Humbly and sincerely I prayed to the Supreme Lord for his mercy. Later, by his grace, I recognized that without receiving the blessings of this peerless saint and without serving him, nothing good could happen to me. When I accepted that and acted accordingly, and then received the causeless, unlimited grace of my Sri Gurudev and refuge at his lotus feet, I deemed my life fulfilled. My Gurudev mercifully told me, reject your knowledge, purity and aristocracy, and come close to me. Don't go anywhere else. Whatever you require, as many rooms, houses, palaces, and mansions, as much scholarship, skills, self-control, and renunciation you will get. Simply come close to me. And, I mean, this is really, very amazing. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta expresses his faith in his spiritual master. A true disciple knows his Gurudev to be someone who's extremely dear to Krishna and who is the servitor Lord, Sevaka Bhagavan. A sincere disciple has the same devotion for his Gurudev that he has for the Supreme Lord, and he worships and serves him in the same way. Those who do not serve their Gurudev in this way fall from their positions as disciples. No one can chant the holy name purely unless they see Gurudev as non-different from Krishna, as Krishna's manifestation. I mean, he says a lot more too, but that gives some idea. So, let's see, in 1905, so he was initiated when he was working. Then in 1905, he took his great vow to chant 1 billion names. So from 1905 to 1909, he lived at the Yogapeeth, the birthplace of Lord Caitanya, in a grass hut, chanting 300,000 names a day, the same vow as Srila Haridas Thakur. Yes. Once daily he cooked plain rice in a clay pot and ate nothing more. He slept minimally on the earthen floor of his hut, bathed in the Ganga, and the rest of the time chanted day and night on the same beads Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had given him in childhood, which he used throughout his stay in this world. In 1911, some smarter Brahmins challenged Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to a debate. Who is higher, the Brahmins or the Vaishnavas? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had too bad rheumatism at that time, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta went. First he glorified the Brahmins, which they were very happy about, but then started smashing them. And they told him, you cannot quote from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So he started quoting just from other Vedic scriptures. Then they said, you cannot quote from the Vedic literatures also, only the Upanishads. And so then he quoted only from the Upanishads, but they couldn't do anything, so they gave up and left. And then the crowd, because it was like a whole public event, the crowd wanted to get some of the water which had washed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's lotus feet, but he didn't want to give it. So the police came and got a big sort of basin type thing of water and forcibly put his feet in it, and then they distributed that water. Okay. So Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj disappeared in 1915, and he was the only disciple, initiated disciple. There were other Babajis who would sort of hang around as if they were associates, but Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj didn't take them seriously, but he took Srila Bhaktisiddhanta very seriously. So he passed away across in Navadvip town, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta went to take charge of the funeral ceremony, But some of the Babajis, sort of hangers-on of Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, they were older than him, because at this time he's like, what's he, 50, 40 years old. 40. Yeah. So they were older and they said, no, you're junior. We may not be initiated, but we were his close associates. So, we're like disciples, so we're taking charge. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta famously confronted them. Any one of you who has not engaged in illicit sex life in what was it? I think in the last week, coming down, in the last 6 months, step forward. Nobody stepped forward. At least they had the honesty. Then, in the last month, nobody stepped forward. In the last week, nobody stepped forward. Then the last day, was it? 3 days, nobody stepped forward. So he took the body of Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj had said that when I pass away, just take this body of mine and have it dragged through the streets of Navadvip by donkeys. So these Babajis were arranging this, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wouldn't accept it at all. So he took his body and had his body put in samadhi in one place. But then later, the Ganges was encroaching and was going to just wash the samadhi away. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had the samadhi sort of casket removed and placed where it is now at Caitanya Mat. On March 29th, 1918, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta took sannyas from a picture of Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And later, actually just before he left this world, 29th of March, 1933, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta revealed that his Guru Maharaj had given him 3 instructions. 1, not to make any disciples. 2, not to associate with anyone. And 3, not to go to the world of Maya, Calcutta. So then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta affirmed that he was following those instructions. He said, I do not make disciples. Those who consider themselves my disciples are in fact my gurus. For by observing their ideal inclination for Hari Seva, my own tendency to serve increases. Number 2, I do not associate with anyone. Association means to accept something from others, but I accept only what's given by my Guru Maharaj. And 3, I never go to Calcutta, but only to our Gaudiya Mat temple, which, although apparently situated in Calcutta, is actually Vaikuntha. So there are many things we can say. Well, here's something more we can say. In 1922, Srila Prabhupada met him. Yes, very significant. His schedule was as follows. He would rise and chant by 2 o'clock each morning, and while reading he would sometimes wear spectacles, but in general he didn't wear them. At 7, he would have a light breakfast of a little halava or a sweet. And at 11 a.m., he would have full prasadam, the basis of which was a large amount of rice with spinach and other vegetable preparations. He always took green papaya, cooked with water, and blended until it became like a soup. He would also take a little lime with his meal. At night, he would take puris and potatoes cut into squares and fried. Shishi Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. So at night he would take puris and potatoes cut into squares and fried with milk, lightly sweetened with a little sugar, at 8:30 or 9. In the afternoon, he liked to take nimbu pani, or cool coconut water. In his prasadam, he liked a lot of salt. He was fond of drumsticks. He also liked chickpeas fried with hing and salt, and food cooked in cow's ghee or sesame oil. He was very fond of hing, especially peanuts fried with a lot of salt and hing. He was very fond of sweets, and especially the Bug Bazaar rasgullas. But at the age of 53, he stopped taking sweets as they were troublesome for his teeth. He liked Dhaka khichdi, which is very liquidy, a lot of water, cooked usually in a big brass pot with many vegetables. And he liked rasam. When Jagannath Mahaprasad would come, he would circumambulate 3 times and then offer full dandavats. So then, just before he passed away, he gave final instructions as follows. With the utmost enthusiasm, preach the message of Rupa and Raghunath. Our ultimate goal is to become a speck of dust, touching the lotus feet of the followers of Rupa Goswami. All of you remain united in allegiance to the spiritual master in order to satisfy the senses of the transcendental Supreme Person. Do not give up the worship of Hari, even amidst hundreds of dangers, hundreds of insults, or hundreds of persecutions. Do not become unenthusiastic upon seeing that the majority of people in this world are not accepting the message of Krishna's sincere worship. Never give up the glorification of the topics of Krishna. They are your own personal bhajan and your very all and all. Being humble like a blade of grass and tolerant like a tree, constantly glorify Hari. Then in the early hours of the morning, January the 1st, 1937, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur left this world. Hare Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanande. Okay, so next is Pushpa Puja.
Move it in. Hare Krishna, please come forward. Ladies on my left, gentlemen on my right. We're passing out the flowers. Be sure and hold your hands side by side. When you hold your hands like this is called an Anjali. And if you hold flowers in it, it's a Pushpanjali. So everyone, please repeat after me. We're going to, I guess you all know, we're going to throw them 3 times. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swa Vadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Anvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Esha Pushpanjali Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatara Shatashishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki The Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Esha Pushpanjali Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatara Shatashishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj's Disappearance Day Ki Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Tvantaharine Esha Pushpanjali Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Ashtatara Shattashishimat His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's Disappearance Day Ki Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur
Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur
Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur
Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Shri Guru Charana Padma Kebala Bhakti Sadama Shri Guru Charana Padma Kebala Bhakti Sadama Bando Muisha Badana Mate Bando Muisha Jahara Prasade Bhai E Bhava Thoriya Jai Jahara Krishna Prapti Hoy Jahan Hoy Te Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chite Te Koriya Aikya Arena Kori Ho Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttamagati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Chakhudan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito Prema Bhakti jahan hoite Abhidya vinasha jate Vede Gai jahan racharito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Haha Prabhu Korodoya Deha More Padachaya Ebe Jash Gushuk Tribhuvana Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunya Vadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Nami Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Jaya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur K. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur K. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakcharya Astaraswati Shishmada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada K. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada K. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda K. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur K. Prem Sigahas Krishna Chaitanya Pramanachananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda K. Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamkund Radhakund Giri Govardhan K. Shri Vrindavan Dham K. Shri Mayapur Dham K. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham K. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ke, Shri Giri Govardhan Ke, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ke, Srila Prabhupada Ke, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ke, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ke, the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ke, Gaur Premanande, all glories to their Sama devotees, all glories to their Sama devotees, all glories to their Sama devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Now Arti is going on for the deities.